If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side. Man, ain't no telling where I be.
Mr. Wilson with another.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yeah, how it's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking cheap, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this.
Shalom, shalom, Yasharala. Blessed Sabbath, family. Good to see you guys. You know, also for those tuning in, the water for tuning in. Welcome to another session of Room 144. This evening's lesson the title is Your Sin is Your Lack of Faith. Your sin is your lack of faith. And I feel like it's a deep one. Want to really meditate and dwell on, not that, the other ones aren't, but a lot of the issues that we have spring, from here. The root is this right here, Like it says, your sin is your lack of faith. Think about that, right? So we're going to open up with Psalms 34. Psalms 34 and verse 4.
Verse 4, I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and delivered me from all my fears.
So look at that, right? That's David, But think about the weight that has right there. He says, I sought the Most High, right? Sought is Hebrew word 1875, the Rosh, right? The Rosh, which means to resort to seek with care, inquire, require, to consult. So, read it from the top again.
I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and delivered me from all my fears.
Imagine all the little definitions that we went into right now, right? And I'm not done, right? So it says to consult, seek counsel. Again, David is saying, I sought the Most High, and he heard me. So what does it take to do what he says he did, right? We're talking about to resort to the Most High in any and every situation of our lives, right? To seek the Most High, to seek him with care, to inquire, to require, to consult, to seek with a demand. That sounds kind of weird, huh? Most High said, ask of me and I'll give to you. Did he not? He said, test me, and see what I could do for you. We forget those things. Imagine that. To me, that one hits heavy right there. It hits hard because it says to seek with a demand. How many of us do that? How many of us even seek, right? So now it says to seek with a demand, with the demand, right? To investigate, to practice, study, seek with application, to seek with care again. So that's a lot right there. That's a lot. But David did that. He said, I sought the Lord, and he heard me. So then that's what it takes for the Most High to hear us. A lot of us go into certain situations, okay, fast and prayer. We fast. We don't really understand what the fast should be about. It's like we roll the dice. You know what, let me just fast, and the Most High got me. Because the Most High says, all you got to do is fast and pray. But that's the problem when we don't understand the basics of these scriptures. And then we don't understand the history. We don't understand how brothers and sisters were actually seeking the Most High. We're still caught up in the ways of the world. And not only the ways of the world, but our own ways. The ways we we've been, able to deal with people and get away with things. Because you really meditate on that, sometimes even relationships, right? The brother was talking about it last week. And it's like loyalty is nowhere to be found nowadays. It's difficult. Like you have relations, they call them situationships out in the world, right? Think about that. Situation. It's a situation I'm in for right now. One of many. So it's like that honor, that loyalty, right? It don't really exist. In the book of Amos, it talks about that. Amos 4:1, the Most High says, I have a controversy with the inhabitants of the world because there is no truth, right? There is no mercy. And he lists everything that the world lacks. And he's focused on us, right? When you think about that, there is no faith. So that means there's no, it's a lack of us as Israelites really investigating and demanding of the Most High what it is that we need to demand. Because we don't believe it. We be in here, we be rocking fringes, beards, going through the, motions, but then it's like your doubt kicks in, and that's what overpowers everything and anything. No matter how many cases, no matter how many testimonials, right, and things we witness ourselves year after year, month after month, week after week, daily. We on the road daily. You see a lot of accidents. You look at, these apps nowadays. This happened down the way. This happened down the way. I mean, things have happened right in front of us right here. All around us, right? And we still be like, you know what? It's just, I guess, coincidence. Or maybe we believe for a minute, but then it's like when we hit that doubt, when do we recall these things? When do we really be like, you know what? I'm not going to doubt at all. I'm going to trust. And whenever it hits me, I'm going to ask the Most High through Yahweh Shai. Because that's another issue people have. I'm going to go straight to the Most High. The Most High said, I'm not listening to you. You got to come through my son, Yahweh Shai. And before you go to him, make sure you understand what you're asking of him. And also make sure that you are in order. And this chapter is going to cover that right now, right? But again, it says he sought the Most High, which we already got a better understanding of what that looks like. And then he said, read it again, Ak.
I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and he delivered me from all my fears.
From some of his fears.
From all of my fears.
Because that's what doubt is at the end, right? Something that you fear. Man, what if it doesn't go down? What if I don't land the job? What if this relationship doesn't work out? What if I'm not in the truth? What if this doctrine is not what it is? And we get stuck on one thing, then it becomes another and another, and we continue to add sin to sin. Although we walking around like, you know what, I'm not offending anybody, but the doubt in you already is big enough. Big enough to detach you from the Most High. Big enough to detach you from the faith, from the trust that you're to have for the Most High, right? Because you could, let's say you have a father or mother or both that always been there for you. You know that you're able to rely on them no matter what, right? A spouse, a father, whatever it is. Sometimes you have sons as a parent that you could rely on because they're about the business. That's what Yahweh Shai said. I'm about Abba's business. I don't know what you're talking about, moms, pops. It's cool. Salakia. You were out 3 days away and you had to come back for me, but I was focused on what this is. It's nothing temporary for me. I'm taking this serious because as you could recall, Mom, the angel told you what I was and what I came for. So these are the things that we depart from, like, okay, I'm in the truth. I'm trying to make it into the kingdom, and the only way of me making it is by doing what the Most High requires of me, which is everything. But it all connects, You could only have faith and mercy, right? That only could be granted if we're following through with the whole layout that the Most High has. That's why there's a lot of issues with a lot of the people here. Obviously, in the world is an issue because, like Philippians states, we're aliens to the commonwealth of Israel, the well-being of Israel, right? But in here it happens as well, though. I've meditated on that so much. It's like A lot of the situations we have, whether, again, relationships between brothers, between sisters, is the lack of faith you have in that person. Is the lack of faith that you have in the Most High to make whatever situation work out. Yeah, exactly. Be like, nah, you know what? Her character is this. His character is like this. Well, then go to the Most High. Why don't we go to the Most High? Hey, Abba, please help my brother. Help my sister. Instead, in our mind, we think stuff that we should not be thinking towards our brethren, right? Because that's when you look at Yahushua, you look at the apostles, you look at everybody from our past. That's what they were in. That's what they were in tune to, making sure that Moses, the first one, our first savior per se, right? He was gone for 40 years defending Israel. And then we are those brothers that got him or almost got him caught up, right? The reason why he had to flee. We don't think about these things sometimes. Be like, offenses will come. Yeah, the Most High said, beware that they don't come from you, though. Well, the sister already had it coming. The brother already had it coming. How do you know? You had faith in that, but didn't have faith in the opposite side of things for it to work out. So then that shows you where the brother covered it, I think, last week, right? Who you're a master to. A slave to. Who your master is, right? Because Satan, we know in 1 Peter 5:8, he says he's headhunting. He's coming for souls. He don't sleep. He has workers for him as well. He has a gang, because imagine 1/3 of Israel is going to make it. That means 2/3 of Israel is working for who? And then the rest of the heathens, the nations, right? And all the powers that be that we cannot see. The bishop went in on the situation with Tobit and Tobias. I don't know when he brought up Raphael, right? In the same story, that is the one that heals. So these are the powers that we're supposed to be trusting in. How many of us know what these angels are supposed to be doing? Or how many of us know the angels, right? Then the scripture says, beware that you might be entertaining an angel and you don't even know. So it's, if you grasp where I'm coming from, it's deep. There's layers, so many layers that once we really start understanding our history, that fear, that lack of faith, that doubt is like, whatever. It's nothing. And we're going to touch on Romans in a minute, but go from there, continue on and jump down. Read that precept again. 34:4, yes.
I sought the Lord, and he heard me and delivered me from all of my fears.
Mm-hmm. So not some, but all of his fears, right? All of his doubts. Jump down to 7.
Verse 7, the angel of the Lord.
Oh, you know what, Salakia, hold up. So deliver. Deliver is another thing, right? Age 53:37. And it's a big one as well because it says rescue, recover, strip, snatch away. We know about instances in here where you were right there. Like, you go back and be like, how is it that I'm still alive? The Most High snatched you away from that. He delivered us from whatever the situation might have been. An accident, almost flatlining on your bed, right? At the hospital. We have brothers that, that were supposed to come out, kids that were supposed to come out a certain way, and the Most High brought out the healthiest babies out. When all the odds were against you, the Most High snatched you from that danger and got you right. So again, it's deep. That's why the prologue of Sirach, the brothers took their time to be like, you know what? Things that are uttered in the other tongue that's not Hebrew don't have the same weight and the same value, right? They don't hit the same. That's why it's necessary for us to go, like the scripture said, sought, right? Seek with care, right? Seek with care and then practice what we find out. So now when you seek with care, the Most High is like, man, look, I snatched you last minute. Isn't it like that though? You don't know how you're going to pay your rent, the Most High will give you, provide to you. I found money on the ground plenty of times, like out of nowhere. Last time that happened to me, I thought somebody was playing a prank. I'm looking around like, you know what, I'm going to just walk away. I'm probably look like a fool. Somebody's probably recording. Nah, I look back. I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me go pick it up. And there was a bunch of people already there throughout the morning. It was early morning, right? I'm like, all praises, Abba. because it was right when I needed that. And it's always right in the nick of time when you feel like there's no way out. The Most High said, here, I got you. And then we forget these things. That's one instance, right? But on so many other levels. On so many levels. And you see how the stories of our forefathers and our foremothers always show us that, right? They give us those examples. Even within, the congregation. Man, how are the kids going to make a Tila event? All of a sudden, somebody granted some, money. They donated. They're executing what the Most High requires of us. Guess what? All these babies, right? They what do you call it? They benefit from it. That should be, you don't know how these things are affecting those babies. I've heard from two little, brother and a sister. I pray for to get pregnant. They have 2 baby brothers now. About to, I think. So many kids coming up, I don't recall. But, they came up and was like, yeah, we was out there praying for, our parents to, be able to come through and conceive a child. And it happened. Think about that. These are babies. I don't think they're even 10 years old. But that's the faith that they see around, like, you know what? This is where it's at. Let me trust in the Most High, because the Most High has never let us down, right? If we do our part. So that's why I said, again, where it says delivered. Because even with, the whole Exodus situation, it happened when it had to happen, right? Because you're like, man, all these plagues went down. Nothing's going to allow the Pharaoh to let us go. Yahweh said, watch. And it happened. Even Yahweh Shai, when you think about it, when he cried out at the end, right? The Most High still responded. He answered, right? Because prophecy had to be fulfilled, but he's like, don't trip. You're going to be on the right side, which is the understanding. Imagine, that happened prior to the second Maccabee sister in chapter 7, right? And the brothers, the sons, also said the same thing. And even in the instance with, the 3 holy children, the same thing. Said, you know what? Tomorrow we're going to be with the Most High. As for you, you're going to be in eternal damnation. So imagine, that's why the Most High said right here through David, I trusted in the Most High, and he got rid of all my fears, all my doubts. I'm full of faith, like Father Abraham, right? Go to 7 now.
The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them.
Look at that, right? Micah Allah, from what I know, they all have a purpose, right? But Micah Allah, actually go to the, so we can read it in the book of Daniel. Let me see if I have it. If you have it, go ahead. Daniel, what is it? Daniel. I don't think I wrote it down, but Daniel 12:1, I believe it is. And it's not just Micah Allah, right? But, I mean, he has armies. That's why Yahweh Shai said, man, do you not know that I could call on the Most High and he will send legions to get rid of everything right now, to put an end to everything, but it's not time. And he even said to him, right, get behind me, Satan. Meaning that Yahweh Shai was on point with the plan. A lot of us know the plan, but want to do our own thing. And then we fail. And we fail again and again and again and again. And then we know what to do, right? But we're like, you know what? I don't think this is that deep. Most High could probably do without. Not that the Most High could do without. He could, bless me without the sacrifices that I'm requiring on my end. We're all guilty of that, right? It happens. Then we look back like, man, I should have just followed through, done everything decently and in order, and I would have had a good outcome. Because once you analyze everything and you want to analyze why you're in the predicament that you're in, it's not because of the Most High. It's because we messed up, right? Go ahead and read that. I believe it's 12:1. Yeah.
And at that time shall Micah
Allah,
stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book.
You see that? It's the same thing that we're reading right now in the book of Psalms 34 and 7. He encampeth around those children, right? Those obedient Israelites. It's the same thing that he's telling you here, but now it's something for us to even meditate a little deeper on, right? Because he's saying, and that at that time, right, the day of judgment, Micah Allah shall stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of Israel, of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble. But then that gives you the understanding Israel will not be troubled. Because you're going to be in the safety of the Most High. You're already so confirmed, right? And trust in the Most High. There's no doubt in you. You cannot be a part of that group of people if there's any doubt in you. That's the only reason why Micah Allah is going to be able to protect those people. Right? Because they're on point. So, yeah, we'll bring it out. The water. So, read that again out. 1.
Con, Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book.
Bam. Nothing changes, right? So let's go back to 34 and 7. So I hope, we're grasping a little more what it takes for us to really be on the Most High's good side. It's not as easy as some of us may think it is, or plain as some of us think it might be. It's not complicated because all it is obedience, right? And full trust. We trust in ways of the world sometimes more than what we trust in the Most High. So then we got to bring that and apply it here. We must apply, right, into what we read about, into our forefathers. When we celebrate Simon, when we celebrate Hadassah, when we celebrate, Mordecai, Moses, Yahushai, Paul, they had that trust in the Most High. They had that faith in the Most High. They were convicted, like anything in life. Anything in life. You must analyze, you must study it, right? Talking about, like, for example, economics. You got the assets. You're going to, You're going to go ahead and invest either in a business, a company, an asset that you already did your research. If you're trying to get profits out of it, you already did your research, and now you're convicted that is a good asset to invest in. Also in relationships, that's how it should be, right? That's why in the history we always read about all these other nations, like, oh, you guys are Israel, the people of Yahweh. Yeah, we ain't messing with y'all. Anybody that was smart, they would try to form an alliance with Israel. That is when Israel was in order, right? Because the Most High says it. The book says it in many places, but Judah being one of the main ones, where it's like whenever they trust, the God that hates or hateth iniquity was with them. Again, you can only trust in somebody if you're fully convicted. And that's the error that happened with our first king, Saul. He lacked trust. He lacked the conviction in the Most High. First incident went down. He was told at this time, do this and this and this. He was like, oh, man, you know what? I don't think it's going to go down. Let me just figure it out. I'm going to do it my way. Second time, you know what? I mean, what's a couple of, of things, the best things that I bring back from this situation? It's going to be all right. Most High says, utterly destroy every Amalekite. Don't bring nothing back from them. Same thing happened with Achan, right? The Babylonian garment. His whole family paid for it. His family and the animals, they didn't even know what was going on. Everything was burnt. Everything was utterly destroyed. Why? Because we didn't trust and we didn't take, right, the direction with the commandments that the Most High gave, whether it was the prophets, whether it is, your husband, your brother, your father, your leaders. It happens. You look at the military, you know, somebody's off, more than likely there's going to be some victims. You got friendly fire. Why is there friendly fire? Because they didn't take heed to what was supposed to, you know, the instructions that were laid out. Fear kicked in. Even with that in the scriptures, says if you're fearful, just go back home. Because you're going to jeopardize the whole mission. That's the same thing with us, because we at war 24/7, right? If we at war 24/7, then you start seeing things fall apart starting in your own vessel, then you got to, you know, examine, okay, what is it that I'm doing? Where am I lacking? How did I go off? What's the iniquity that I'm committing? Because now my faith is lacking, right? And that lack is increasing. It's getting bigger. It's getting deeper. And as, you know, the lack increases, then you separate, you come apart from the Most High. And everything falls apart. Now you start doubting, you know what? My significant other is probably my partner is doing this. What they call in the world projecting sometimes, right? We start projecting. You know, that doubt kicks in. The evil suspicions kick in. None of that should exist. As soon as you know, that hits your radar, you got to go back. Get in your closet, send them up, ask the Most High to help your unbelief, right? And in that case, hey, husband, wife, come through. Let's fast, let's meditate. Let's ask the Most High to really, you know, hold us down, because I'm you know, facing some turbulent times right now. The Most High says, I do not, and I did not give you the spirit of fear. So that fear kicks in. Even sometimes, you know, in the darkness, like, you know, you're afraid of the dark. Why? Oh, I'm in a desolate area. That fear kicked in. Why? It shouldn't be. There should be no fear. But again, this is the way that, you know, we've been programmed by, like what Psalms 83 talks about, our enemies, because they know if we have fear, then we have doubt. If we have doubt, we lack faith. If we lack faith, we in sin. And they got us. And their kingdom continues, right? So read 7 again, Ak.
The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them.
Exactly. 8. Yes, sir.
O taste and see that the Lord Yahweh is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him.
Again, imagine that. Oh, taste and see. Experience it, right? And see. Be certain that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusts in the Most High. Jump down to 15.
The eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry.
Mm-hmm.
The face of the Lord is against them that do evil.
So let's meditate on that, right? So it says the Most High is focused on the needs of the righteous. That's why Sirach 12 makes sense once we really start analyzing these precepts. Do not help the ungodly. Once you help the ungodly, right? And there's wisdom behind that. But if you know that this person is ungodly, and it even says in that chapter, in chapter 12, man, he's going to overpower you at the end of the day. He's going to finesse you because he knows the heart that you have. He's going to come through, give you a sob, sad story, whatever, and then he got you. And he didn't only get your help, right? But now you're a what? To his sin. Exactly. You aiding in that, right? What happens in the world when you aid? You catch some charges, right? You know, I was just driving. I didn't even know. Well, okay, cool. Here are your charges. This is the time you're going to serve. Most High said it. We know the charges. I mean, we know our sentence. He says, you will be punished more than this person. Because I gave him a judgment. You came and helped him or her out of that judgment. Now you're going to face the consequences. Why? Read that again, 15.
The eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open to their cry.
So we would know, hey, sister, what did you do to get you in that predicament, to place you in that situation? It shouldn't be, I'm not sure, you know, it's just, you know, my luck. No, what did you do against the Most High that got you in the place that you're in right now? Let's examine that. Let me be my brother's keeper. Let me be my brother's, my sister's keeper. Let's talk about it. Oh, well, you know what? This and this happened. Okay, well, let's pray. Let's go ahead and do this, and seek the aid and, the reconciliation from the Most High. Because when you go look at the leprosy situation, right, back in the day, you were supposed to be dressed in a particular way, right? And as you walked out, you were to let the people know that you were a leper, that you were leprous. So therefore, everybody would get away from you. And you were only in that predicament because of sin, because of your iniquity. So imagine that. But okay, this brother, this sister, they're off. And they're even letting it be known. So then are you going to be silly enough to go and help them? You could help them with prayer. That's the best help you could give them. But as far as coming and trying to go against the judgment of the Most High, now you are an accomplice to that. And you're going to be in a worse situation than that person. See, this is what the law is about when you have the faith. We read it, we recite it, we talk about it, but then it's like, nah, once it hits, it's like, you know what? Why don't you deal with him or her how you used to? Because they don't deal with the Most High how they used to. We're low-key enemies now. But the Most High said to love your brother and love your sisters and this. Yeah, but there's certain things that you got to follow through with, right? There's how you look at the law of Esau's law. The same way, I mean, even deeper, the way you got to look at the Most High's law. Because now it's like, I know that I'm supposed to do this, but the brother needs help. The sister needs help. They got caught up coming out the club on the Sabbath, got into an accident, so, hey, let them be. Because they know better. Even them calling you for help is a disrespect to the Most High. And also they're playing with you and your faith. He ain't really about that business. She ain't really about Abba's business. Watch. They're going to come and scoop me up. Then down the line, 2-3 months down the line, you in a predicament. And you're out here trying to figure out, what did I do? I've only done right. In whose eyes, though? In whose eyes? The Good Samaritan. We understand, well, what is that? Help your enemy. Well, who's my enemy? So that's why, again, going back to the first precept, sought the Most High. Once we actually do that, we understand the lines, right? Call them the thin lines between righteous and unrighteousness. So going back, 15 again.
The eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry. Mm-hmm. The face of the Lord is against them that do evil, to cut off the remembrance of them from the earth.
Imagine that. You won't even be remembered. And isn't that what happens? Remember that one sister? Who? Remember that brother? Man, he was here for like 10 years. You don't remember him? Not really. And obviously we remember, here, but I'm saying in general, when you look at it at the end of the day, there's some examples that we do recall in the scriptures, but at the Most High is like, look, you're not even a memory, because guess what? And that's what it got to be in your life. How you got to program yourself, like, you know what? I'm not concerned. My people are those that are seeking the Most High, those that are about Abba's business, those that are really focused and being better than what they were back in the day and not going back to the ways, of the past, of their past, our past. That's how we are able to keep each other, how we sharpen each other. It's sad, but guess what? Whose choice was that for you or for that person, whoever committed sin, to be forgotten? It's our choice, right? Do we want to be forgotten or do we want to be remembered forever? Right? Because that's what we read about and that's what we practice when we celebrate our feast days. We're celebrating great men and women that did righteousness in the eyes of the Most High, that did good deeds in the eyes of the Most High. We never celebrate any wicked individual, right? Those that were faithful. Jump down, actually finish that chapter out. 19. 18. Oh, yeah, not 18. It's like
The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth him out of all of them.
That's another one that we forget about. Well, I'm in this walk. Why am I still going through all these trials, all these tribulations, all these tests, all these harsh times? Read that again, Ak.
Many are the afflictions of
Few.
the righteous. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth him out of all of them.
That's what you got to understand when you're going through it. If you've been through it 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, and the Most High always had your back, why doubt now? Now is how it makes sense when we read in the New Testament, take it with gladness. How can I take it with gladness? This ain't a glad moment for me. Oh, well, okay, cool then. Don't. And be stuck. Right? When we get upset, we get in our emotions, what happens? Usually immediately. But something happens, right? You say something out of line. You out there having road rage on the road. Most High will check you immediately. Usually that's how it goes down. You look like a fool. So why? Why do that? Be like, nah, you know what? Let me be in order. Let me do according to what the Most High already laid out. Because many are the troubles, right? The afflictions of the righteous, but Yahweh was always going to save you. Yahweh was always going to snatch you at the last minute. So you got to write it out. Be like, all right, I'll put the water. I know you got me. I don't know when, but you got me. Let me smile. Let me be happy. Let me continue with my life. Let me not wear my, pains, my emotions on my sleeves. Nah, let me just keep pushing. Because then you, through those actions, you motivate those around you. Like, damn, sis, really, you were going through all that? I couldn't tell. You were always with good spirits. You always came through with a smile. You always were cheerful, humble, charitable. Man, and that's what you were going through? Damn, Mark, really? That's going to do something for you. You know what? I better be quiet next time. Let me shut my mouth, because what he went through, what she went through, man, I can't even compare to what I thought was that deep. And that encourages everyone. That's how you sharpen. Iron sharpeneth iron, right? 20.
He keepeth all his bones. Not one of them is broken.
We read that often, right? Yahweh Shai, not one bone was broken. The 3 brothers in the furnace, not one hair was touched. And he could go down in the stories of our forefathers. Yeah, but even Job, he came out and was blessed at the end of the day. And then you got examples. Well, you know what? John the Baptist was decapitated. But even there, it gives you the understanding, like, yeah, to you it might seem like, it might look like a loss, but he's blessed. Because imagine who John the Baptist was to begin with. Elijah. Elijah had already ascended. He didn't even see death. He came back through John. John was decapitated. But John already had a victory. Elijah, that spirit had already, it was victorious already. So it's like, man, like the scripture breaks it down for us. Like, look, as something that may look like a loss to you is actually a victory. Because these are the things you got to look at. You know what? These brothers never folded. All the apostles were martyrs. You got to go outside the Bible to see how they were put to death. It was bad. Every single one of them, right? But they never gave up. They were jailed for years. Shipwreck, you could read about it, just about Paul, everything that he went through. He was like, you know what? None of this is going to separate me from the Most High and my duties for the Most High. The way that I need to serve for the Most High. Why? Because he was convicted. He knew, he trusted in the Most High. He's like, he wrote half of the stuff that's supposed to be encouraging us nowadays. Let's go there, as a matter of fact. Go to Romans 8 and 18. One of many.
For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us.
Now imagine we believe that. 8 and 18, Romans. Because we read it often, right? Brothers bring it out. But now if we were really convicted and trusted in what it is that we're reading, right? For I reckon that the suffering of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. Automatically, no. Not at all. But if we trust in the Most High, if we have faith, faith gets rid of sin. Faith gets rid of the fear, of doubt. So now it's like, you know what? It's the same thing that we read about in Psalms, right? The same thing. Many are the afflictions of the righteous. Romans, through the brother Paul, he's just confirming it. He's like, man. And then he's giving you the understanding, like, don't compare all that you're going through right now, all the negative stuff that you're going through right now, to what the Most High is going to give you. If you believe in him, if you follow through, if you endure until the end, if you're long-suffering, then he will crown you as the first fruits, like Yahushua was crowned. Imagine Yahushua, he already reaping. He out there on the right side of the Most High in the kingdom. He's just waiting. The brothers in Revelation 6, they're just waiting. With white robes, he said, look, just relax for a minute. Everything is not fulfilled yet. And if we're reading these things, then now we got to be like, you know what? Imagine there's people just waiting, looking at us like, what's up? Hurry up, man. Come on, let's go. Man, when, Abba? Abba's like, look, it's not time yet. They don't get it. Imagine they up there like, man, what is there to get? Are you not reading about us? Did you not see Yahweh Shai? What? Why are you still doubting? But again, it's the lack of faith. And the lack of faith again, through our iniquity, right? So go back and finish that up. Hold up. Nah, yeah, we're good. Yeah, go back. 20.
From 20. He keepeth all his bones, not one of them is broken. Evil shall slay the wicked, and they that hate the righteous shall be desolate. The Lord redeemeth the soul of his servants, and none of them that trust in him shall be desolate.
Look at that. Just meditate. Y'all brothers and sisters know plenty of people. I said it last time. You see their posts on social medias. They appear, they want you to think that they're happy. But even, it comes out of the way they lay things out. They're not happy. They're in that desolate state. But they want to convince themselves that they're good. When deep down inside, the Most High says he gives sleep to the righteous. The unrighteous, man, you be having nightmares. Your patterns is off. You out here all stressed out. And the Most High said, look, put all your cares, all your worries, put them on me. I got you. But now we out here trying to figure things out. No, trust me, I got you. Nah, you know what? Yeah, but I'm going to figure it out. I know that you need my help to make, okay? All right, then go ahead, do that then. Go and be, it says do not over worry. Sirach goes in and they break it down even deeper. Like, look, if you didn't get it from the Torah, from the scriptures, it took us mad time to really break it down and try to make it easier for you guys to understand. That's what Sirach is about, right? And it's a beautiful book. Wisdom of Solomon. It's a beautiful book. And they lay it all down and let you understand, like, make you understand. At least that's the hopes, right? And it's like, man, don't over worry. Those that over worry, it tells you in the world through the medical field, look, stress causes exactly the silent killer. You end up, having heart attacks. All types of things come from stress. All types of things come from stress. And stress comes from what? Fear. Exactly, fear. Man, what if this don't work out? How am I going to do this? How am I going to accomplish this? When the Most High already has a plan in motion. There'd be people around you that like, man, look, this thing is going. Nah, that can't be it. That's not for me. We aware of stuff like that, right? Like, man, really? Like that? It's done? Yep, it's done. And some people in the background probably like, nah, they'll never get that done. Okay, cool. Then you don't trust in the Most High. That's disrespectful right there. And again, I don't know if you guys are really grasping and understanding what it is. Like, in these relationships, we do that often. One might trust in the Most High. The whole focus is in the Most High. And the other one's like, nah, you know what? I got to do it this way. I got to, rely on this, rely on that, rely on the system, rely on Esau, my job, my career. Amos 3:3. 1 Corinthians 1:10 is lacking. So then things fall apart, right? Prayers are what? They're what? Now, what's the word that the hinder? Thank you. We read it, we know, we quote it, then it's like we don't apply it, right? We don't really seek the Most High, how Psalms 34, how David said he did. And he said all his fears were gone, completely gone. Because imagine, think about David, right? He failed the Most High. He went against the Most High. It wasn't light. He asked for forgiveness, though. Psalms 51, he came through with a contrite, a broken heart, and his whole life, when you read about it, his whole life was full of repentance, an example of what it is to repent. We're David, much worse ways, right? As far as the sin is concerned, way worse. But then we're not David on the way, of coming back to the Most High, seeking him. Because, Jeremiah tells you, seek him. Only acknowledge your iniquity, right? And the Most High will forgive you. But don't go back to it, though. That means you got to meditate. Day of Atonement comes along. Okay, you know what, Abba? Man, I know I'm still here. I'm still guilty. Hopefully you've been forgiving me. Hopefully I'm worthy. Hopefully, I'm in the right route. But if not, help me out. And that's where you got to meditate. Not only on the Day of Atonement. It's daily, right? For us to really examine ourselves. Are we doing the right thing? Are we moving according to scriptures? Am I controlling my thoughts? Am I controlling how, I use my time, my blessings, my benefits? Who am I breaking bread with? Because we still have families in the world that are not connected to the word. Are you more, about them and their well-being, or are you more about the Most High's people and their well-being? All these things are to be considered, and then, everything starts falling in place. Because things are going to fall in place regardless, but they're going to fall in place according to what we read right here in 15 or 16. The Most High is either going to consider you righteous or consider you wicked. And we already know the Most High says, I'm against the wicked ones, and I'm always there to hear the prayers and the needs of my righteous brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, right? You finished 22? Yeah, you did. Let's go from there. Let's get, there we have 15. Let's read, let's go to Romans. Romans 4. How's everybody doing? All praises. Read Romans 4:16.
Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but also to that which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father.
Sounds a little confusing, huh? That's pretty dense. But it says, therefore, it is of faith, showing you that nothing could be without faith. And then it's talking about what? Read it from the top.
Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed.
Think about that. Meditate on that, right? You got to have faith that then there might be grace, right? To the end that the promises that the Most High made because of the faithful Abraham, right, might come to fruition, may come to fruition, right? Promise might be sure. You read might. No, they're sure. They might be for you if you have faith. Then you will have that grace, granted that grace, right, that at the end you may reap of the promises. I mean, the promises, it's in the word. It's a promise. Right? Finish it up.
Not to that only which is of the law.
So this is the whole New Testament right there. No, the law's done away with. No, they were giving us the understanding it's not just about the law like the Pharisees and the Sadducees and all the other sects. No, they lack faith. So now it's letting you know you need the faith, then you get grace, not only by the law, but by that faith. You look confused. Okay, good. So yeah, that's what the Pharisees and Sadducees, remember, they were about the written law. But there was no faith in them. They were faithless. That's how the Most High's Son would call them and consider them hypocrites. Ye hypocrites. You're the same ones that were persecuting the prophets back in the day and killing them. I mean, the book of Acts 5 talks about it. Peter lets them know, and you were the ones that assassinated Yahweh Shai. But you out here telling us not to preach about Yahweh Shai? We gonna obey the Most High rather than you guys. You guys are the murderers that kill Yahweh Shai. Because you had the ability for that not to go down. But you said, go ahead, kill him. And all the other Israelites that were there saying to kill Yahweh Shai, right? Remember, there was one that was able to get away every year. They chose who? Exactly. They didn't choose Yahweh Shai. The 2/3 of Israel chose the murderer or the criminal, not Yahweh Shai, that was with no guile, with no sin, and so did the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the people that were in control. That's what this is giving you right here. Not only because, you know, okay, I'm Israel, I made it. No, you got to have faith. You got to have faith, you got to apply the law. You could only have faith through obedience by application of the law. And you got to seek, right? You got to study, you have to consult, you got to apply after you seek to be able to be granted that faith, be able to be granted that grace, that mercy, right? Finish it up, read it from the top again.
Therefore it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all.
And that's what connects us at the end. We all from Abraham, right? But that's why it says not all Israel is, right? And then he also says not all of the seed of Abraham is the chosen, but in Isaac through Jacob was the covenant made. So now it starts making a little more sense, like, okay, cool. But we already know that part, we Israel. But yeah, just because you're here and going through the motions, if you're still lacking faith, if there's still doubt in you, the doubt is the result of the iniquity and the sin that's still within us that we need to get rid of. Because if we don't, there's always going to be a doubt. There's always going to be a what if, right? You look at this, it says, you act on doubt instead of, going to actually get Romans 14 and 23.
Romans 14:23. And he that doubteth is damned if he eat, because he eateth not of faith. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin.
So there you go. The first part of that, right? It's a whole lesson within itself, but it's letting you know, like, you're already condemned. You're already damned. Imagine you're eating the Passover. And you're like, I guess. I mean, I don't know. They said for me to do it. If that's the mentality you have, then you're only eating to eat. You're already damned. 1 Corinthians, I believe it is 11, the chapter. Well, it's not. I don't think it's 11. But anyways, it talks about you will be condemned if you don't know the reason why you're doing these things, right? So then that's what the scriptures giving us an understanding here. Read it from the top again, all right?
And he that doubteth is damned if he eat, because he eateth not of faith. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin.
There you go. You see that? Whatever is not of faith, if you're just going through the motions, well, they did it. Leadership said it was this way. The doctrine says this, but have you confirmed it? Have you sought? Have you really searched it out? And now, without a doubt, right, you know that this is what you're supposed to be doing. That's what grants you the faith. You have no doubt. You're not in here like, man, you know what? The lesson's going and you're in your own little world just going fighting each other, fighting your little, demons. fighting your thoughts. Man, I wonder if, I don't know. This kind of looks silly to me. It could go from the fringes to the beard to, man, I don't know about these dresses. Really, I got to rock them every day? All the way to my knee? And you start making, I mean, there's so many things that you could bring up. And we all know our demons. We know everything that goes on in our head, right? Sisters, I know Miss Mary's seen it plenty of times. Well, you know what? It was below my knee, or at least up to my knee while I was standing up. Yeah, but you're sitting right now. Your whole thigh is exposed. I mean, show me that in the Bible. Okay. Something is not that simple because it's deep. Because now you're creating a certain environment for people. Then you want to go back, hey, what, no, just, what is it that difficult? That's the way of the world. That's the way that Timothy talks about. In the latter days, men will become lovers of themselves. Men, humanity, male and female Israelites. Attention seeking, right? And then we start out here, within the word, because it's not just about here when we come to the church, to the congregation. It's just in your day to day. You at home, imagine you have sons, but you out here exposed. Well, I'm at home. Yeah, but you still have sons and daughters looking at you. Is it that big a deal? You got, what's going on with that person? There's a big lack of faith, right? A lack of conviction. Because it's not the husband or the congregation, the ways of true nation that you're fighting. No, you're fighting the Most High and his commandments. He set everything away that makes sense. It might not make sense to us, but it makes sense down the line. As you get older, you start looking at things like, now I see. Now I understand. Now I see why I had issues for those 2 decades, because I could have easily just done this, which, it is in the scriptures. Leviticus 11 is a big one. You have elderly folk come through. Yeah, you know what? The doctor told me not to eat swine no more. Yeah, I told you about 20 years ago. The Bible told you. Centuries ago. Many examples that you could pull out. But what is it? The lack of faith. Again, read it from the top.
And he that doubted is damned if he eat, because he eateth not of faith. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin.
Right? So when you act out of doubt, right, you are expecting to fail. Because if you have doubt, then that means, you know what? Even in the saying, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Certain phrases that we use, we don't really understand where we're going with it. But now again, you act out of doubt, that means you're expecting to fail. That means that you're uncertain about something or someone, right? Or have difficulty believing something. Abraham did not have no difficulty at all. The Most High said it, he did it. But it tells you in the scriptures, what is that? Genesis 26:4? No, the faith and Abraham keeping the laws. Nah, check Genesis 26. I think it is. 26:5.
Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why he was faithful. But you want to read that?
Nah, just that. Oh. When you go to 17, you understand the reason why he blessed them. Genesis 17 is a covenant, right? Well, he says right here, because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws, which is what we read right now in Romans. Just like Father Abraham, right? So these are the things. He didn't act with no doubt, right? It says when you act out of faith, faith involves conviction and certainty. You on point. You know the Most High is not going to let me down. I also know that the Most High is going to put me through some trials and through some tough times, but he's not going to give me more than what I'm able to. Okay, so he's going to get me through it. You got to think like this. You can't be in your own thoughts and be like, man, how am I going to figure it out? Let me call somebody. Let me Google it. No, you got to be convicted already. You know what? I understood this. Okay, now I'm going to apply it. I'm not going to do like I've been doing, my past few years. I'm going to do it like this. And then you start applying that, and guess what? It's like anything else. Exercise, whatever it is, a diet. You start applying it, it works out. Right? The Most High, you start applying everything that he tells us, it works out. And then life becomes easy. Easier. You go through things, it's like, you know what? Yeah, I've been through it before. I can't wait, though. Once the Most High gets me out of the season, I know it's going to be beautiful. Because then again, the scripture says, we forget quick, right, about those blessed days when we in the opposite side. And then vice versa. And when we in that treacherous situation, we forget. I think I said the same thing twice, but you guys understand what I'm saying. So then these are the things we apply. Like, okay, the Most High, okay, he said, let me not be that person then. Right now I'm going through some rough times. Let me remember the blessed times. And as you remember them, guess what? You're back at them again. It's only for a season. It's only for a season. You read about Job, he went through it for a good minute, but then he was blessed at the end because he was convicted. His conviction never failed, right? He never went left or right. He was like, nah. He even called his wife, man, you fool, what's wrong with you? You sound like one of these foolish females out here. What's wrong with you? No. Who are we? Are we just supposed to be happy when the Most High gives us, positive outcomes in our life? Nah, we got to take the good and the bad. That's what makes you. Imagine your whole life was just good. You see these kids that have it good their whole life. The type of brats they are, right? Selfish, entitled. Esau for the most part. And a lot of us as well. We out here demanding without our part being fulfilled. Yeah, the Most High said demand, so no, it don't work like that either, brother. Yeah. I'm special. I'm an Israelite. Yeah, but that's, what kind of Israelite are you, though? Right? Yeah, songs and all of that supposed to make us think. Right? So then, let me get James. James 1. Conviction, family. Certainty.
James 1:1. James, a servant of God, of the Lord Jesus Christ, to
James 1:6.
Oh, excuse me. I thought you said 1 through 6. Verse 6. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed.
Isn't that what happens? How do you know you're in the truth? How do you know your doctrine is right? There's another scripture that says you're going to be like a child, getting tossed to and fro, right? The wind blows west, you go west. The wind goes southwest, you're going southwest. Whirlwind, you up there getting tossed left and right in circles, trying to figure it out instead of being convicted. Be like, nah, you know what? I see that, but all these doctrines that you go into and start thinking about is like, man, sister, brother, just meditate. Ask the Most High to show you. And at the end of the day, for example, is the earth round? Is it flat? Is it a circle? Is it this? Is that going to jeopardize your salvation? If you dwell on it too much, yeah, it is. Every time something comes up, like, that can't be it. Because the earth is this, the earth is that. You'd be like, oh, you know what? We know in part, we prophesy in part. That's even dangerous for me to say that. And be like, there you go, you see? No, I'm saying it because you got to understand. You know what? Let me seek the Most High. Let me prove it. And in the meanwhile, if I'm not certain, you know what? Is it detrimental to my salvation? How deep is the ocean? Is that really going to affect? It's not. Even the prophecies. Hey, brother, can you break down this prophecy? I need to understand Daniel. For what? You're still lacking in this and this and this. How about you get that in order? Yahweh Shai wasn't talking about all those things. He was giving you, like the bishop says, teaching you that character, how to be that righteous, that brotherly brother, right? That good sister, that good example, that righteous, virtuous sis. That help me, right? That righteous leader, the selfless leader. These are the things that are really going to benefit us at the end. How to live in captivity. How to think outside the box that we've been boxed in by our enemies. And think according to these scriptures. While you out here going through days and nights trying to figure out how deep the ocean is. How many galaxies, how many stars. For what? And I mean, there's so many examples, right? Again, read it from the top.
But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed.
Go ahead.
For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord.
Man, read that again.
For let not that man think he shall receive anything of
If
the
you
Lord.
out here wavering, tossed to and fro, not steadfast, man, don't even think the Most High is going to bless you with anything. He's not going to give you anything. That's not how it works. That's why we stuck in this circle, in this cycle. Man, nothing works out for me. Yeah, because you don't trust in the Most High. You have not set a foundation. You have no roots. Think about a plant or a tree that, the wind comes. You're not going to be there for too long. You're going to wither away. You're going to, be tossed out, then you're going to dry up. You might still be laid out and look a little green for a minute, but eventually you're going to dry out and then vanish. That's the same thing. That's why in Proverbs, I believe it is, or in Psalms, it's like, man, be like that tree that's by the riverbanks. That's how we ought to be. Continue on.
A double-minded man is unstable.
This is
in
the
all
one that
his
we go
ways.
to usually, right? But this is the layout. So it says, you out here wavering, you're not steadfast, you're not grounded, you're not rooted. Read it from the top again.
A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
So the Most High is not going to deal with you, right? One who doubts is unstable in all his ways. One who lacks sufficient faith to lay hold of the promises of the Most High. Your faith is not enough. And since it's not enough, as soon as you get tested, there you go. You lose your mind. You're a victim of what? Deuteronomy 28 and 28. Read that right quick. Because this is a big one in our communities, in our families, in our households, in ourselves. Then you have all this social media that doesn't help, but you're so caught up in everything but the word that just makes it worse and worse, right?
Deuteronomy 28 and 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness.
With what?
Madness. And blindness.
And what else?
And astonishment of heart.
And that would happen and happens. Read the next verse. All right?
And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness. And
Imagine, what's going on at noon? It's full of light, right? That sun is bright, but you out here like a blind man trying to figure it out. These rooms, these lessons are full of light, but we in darkness, right? Because we choose darkness. We want to stay in iniquity. We want to stay in sin. We want to stay caught up in doubt and the lack of faith. So then, therefore, we end up in these conditions that we in. It never fails. It says, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness. Go ahead.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
Thou shalt prosper in thy ways.
Thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt only be oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
That's something deep for us to meditate. Well, we in captivity. Nothing ever goes well for me. I'm always hitting a dead end. Akwath, sister, brother, this is the reason. Your faith, you're lacking that faith. And that lack of faith is your sin. So of course you're not going to be blessed. You're still on the other side. You're still 15 through 68. You're not 1 through 14. It is not that difficult, but you're able to examine your life and be like, you know what? And then you might have somebody that's going all out, and you guys are always clashing with each other. You try to figure out why. The reason is right here. We read about it every time we have a lesson, right? Every time we go into these scriptures. Your lack of faith, right? Your lack of the promises of really believing and trusting in the Most High is not ever going to get you anywhere but to fail, because that's the only way it's going, that's the only place it's going to land you at, right? It says, when you doubt, you question the validity, ability, strength, power, and promises of the Most High. So you're full of unbelief. You're an infidel. Right? Then doubt. Doubt is also known as what? Mistrust, skepticism, suspicion, uncertainty, right? You don't believe in someone or something. Then you also have what causes doubt, which 28:28 broke it down, right? Lack of information, tendency to overthink, the tendency to question things. It seems, it stems from past experiences, anxiety, fear of failure, right? Or the world, the way the world lays things out. No, yeah, but I'm not, I was in a much better place back in the day. You're going and stressing over money, right? Why? Because you want to have this, you want to have that, you want to have that. When the Most High said, look, these are the essentials of life: shelter, water, bread, raiment. If you have that, but see, there's a status I got to fulfill because my people be right here. Okay, so then, again, fear of failure in the eyes of the world. When the world, a lot of the stuff is on credit. You fully in debt to appear to be something you're really not. Because you look, anybody that's wealthy, they don't be dressing the way we want to portray wealth. Look at a lot of these people with mad money, man. You be surprised. They don't be out here with the tags and all that. And they have generational wealth. They invest in things that actually appreciate and don't depreciate. And that's how they're at peace. Because guess what? They're following the book. They're following Joshua 1 and 8 to an extent. Because they know this is their world, right? Job 9 and 24 says, look, the world has been given into the hand of the wicked. They know this is their kingdom. So it's foolish, when you see these Edomites on the corner begging for money, it's like, damn, bro, you failed. This is your kingdom right now. But whatever. That's the approach that we need to take. Okay, they told me, Yahweh told me how to live in captivity and be able to flourish, succeed, be successful, and start setting up that generational wealth, reversing the curses, right? And shoot for the promise that was to be overwhelmed with blessings, right? Then it says, doubt can also arise from emotional turmoil, such as pain or disappointment, leading to question beliefs or values. But what got you in that predicament? I've meditated a lot on relationships because that's everything that we have. I trusted my brother and he did me dirty. Well, did you prove your brother? Somewhat. Were you quick to give him, to credit the brother or the sister? Yeah, kind of. She had fringes on, I saw her at the service for about 3 months. Yeah, but see, you didn't do your due diligence, so whose fault is that? It's you. It's yours. So now, guess what? Doubt can also arise from emotional turmoil, such as pain or disappointment, leading to questioning beliefs or values. It's like you're in the covenant now. You made a covenant with a brother or with a sister. Hey, help each other be successful. There's no way out. You're in it already. There was a way out beforehand, right? But now you're in there. So now how about we go all out Like it says, right, till death do us part. Nah, till life, because we're supposed to be shooting for eternal life, immortality. You know what? I'm going to make sure that you make it and you help me out, that I make it. You take that approach with everything, even with brothers, amongst everybody in Israel, then that's the way we start eliminating these doubts, this lack of faith.
I would want to say too, like even in that, when we're talking about relationships, proving process with people and such like that, the generation we're in right now, it's kind of expected that there's going to be some, you should foresee some disappointments, but it's your lack of faith when you're like, well, I don't believe that we can fix these disappointments that may or may come up, and then you just kind of, you let it go after that. It's like, no, you should have been more than willing to be like, keep holding on and hope and pray and know that we're striving for perfection, right? So then eventually, whatever that I did, I guess, like about you can still increase as perfection becomes increased. So that's a form of you keeping faith with that too, just as far as the messed up ways that each of us is in right now.
Yep. But we give up. What we do is give up. Nah, you know what? He's never going to change. She's never going to change. You got to think about what is it that you want her or him to change? Is it your personal, views and values or ways of how you see life? Are they living according to Scripture? That's what you got to look at and dwell on. Be like, oh, you know what? I can't be mad at her. She according to Scriptures. I can't be mad at him. He's living his life according to Scriptures. Now, when we're going off from what the Most High instructed and commanded us, then that's the issue. That's where you go have those conversations. That's where you go, through the long suffering. That's where you go and pray. And you ask, brothers and sisters, hey, you know what? I'm going through this situation. Can you guys please maybe have a, communal congregational fast for us? These are the things we got to look at and really, execute, take advantage of. But a lot of times we just give up. Nah, you know what? I can't stand him. I can't stand her. Can I get a bill of divorce? Can I leave her? I'm going to search for another one. Like, that's not the point. The point is, how about we get it together and we continue to be better and really strive, like we said, we read it last time, right, in Sirach. That takes a lot of sacrifice, a lot of time, right, and a lot of energy. It says, long suffering, endure until the end. Nah, you know what? I'm done with her. I'm done with him. You didn't endure until the end, so guess what? Then you want to go and seek another one, guess what? Same thing's going to happen. Because your mind's already set in your ways, not the ways of the Most High, right? Let me get Jeremiah 30. Because this is deep when Yahweh talks about it in the prophets, where he's like, man, she played the whore, right? I remember the bishop way back in the day. He had everybody fooled that night. He dropped that poem, right? Talking about the harlot. And then he brought it in as far as the scriptures say, and I took you back. Not so much the physical, sexual aspect of things. That's not what the Most High was breaking down. He was breaking down how we went and played the harlot under every green tree. Every ideology, every doctrine, every type of way that we think and move about our life was a way and was not the ways of the Most High. He says, but guess what? Once you repented, I took you back. If he took us back, how can, again, he didn't give up on us. The ones that didn't go back are the ones that gave up on themselves, just like the first generation in the wilderness, right? Nah, it's all good. We don't need it. Go to Jeremiah 30 and get that. This basically breaks it down. 17.
Jeremiah 30 and 17. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord. Because they called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after.
Read 18.
Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents, and have mercy on his dwelling places. And the city shall be builded upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof.
The Most High promised it. Now it's for us to believe it. It says, look, I'm going to turn away the captivity. I'm going to rebuild the city. You guys going to be good. Yeah, all Israel. No, not all Israel. Those that have faith. Those that apply everything that I'm breaking down in this book. Those I will go ahead and rescue and bring back and heal them and set them where they were supposed to be. Like Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 said, we were laid out to be eternal. But through our sin, we met death. We discover death. We experience death, right? So that's what the Most High is saying. Like, look, I got you. All you got to do is believe, because my part of the promise, it stands. It's with no doubt it's going to happen, right? Let me get Luke 8 and 48. And also, you guys could take down Psalm 78 and 5. Actually, I want a piece of that Psalm 78 and 5. Hold that, Luke, and go to Psalm 78. Because this is, again, the way of life, the lifestyle that we're supposed to be pursuing, right, and living on a daily. Psalm 78. Let's actually get it. 5. And read down.
Psalm 78 and 5. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children.
We're going to get why, right? I mean, we already know, but it's like we got to go back and revisit these things. How many of us are doing that? Nah, you know what? Let them be with the iPad. Let them be with their little show. Let them be with the LAUSD system. Let somebody else take care of them. Malcolm said it. You a fool to put your seed for somebody else to bring up, right? To indoctrinate with wickedness. That's insane. But plenty of us do that. Many of us do that. When the Most High is telling us, this is what I said and commanded for you guys to do. Go ahead.
That the generations to come might know them, even the children which should be born, which should arise and declare them to their children. That they might set their hope in.
What?
That they might set their hope.
I read 2 mites in 6 and 7, between 6 and 7. So letting you know, look, my side of the deal is for certain. It's for sure. Now, you guys, depending how you instruct your sons, your daughters, they might, right? And then at the end, they might trust in the Most High. Hopefully, but it's on us. Not only the parents, but like, you know, the lesson went out. And the saying goes, it takes a village. I see brothers coming out, you know, the way is like, it's different, right? When your uncle comes up, your homie picks you up, your brother picks you up or looks out for you instead of your parents. It hits different. I know for me it hit different, you know. It's like, you know what, it's beyond. It's not just, it's like, man, I got a whole body that could, you know, has my back. It feels beautiful. I have plenty uncles, plenty grandparents, right? Aunties, brothers, cousins. They're all there for me, and we have one accord. And we know that what's backing us up is the promises of the Most High that have never failed any of our forefathers before. Finish that up.
That they might set their hope in God and to not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments.
Go ahead, get that.
And might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with God.
Exactly. So both sides of the spectrum, right? Let me get that Maccabees. First Maccabees, what is it, 2? Yeah. First Maccabees 2. A brother Mattathias, before he passed away, he broke this down. The same thing that we read about in the Gospels. I mean, in the New Testament. The brother had laid it out before those days, right? Go ahead.
First Maccabees 2 and from verse 50. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall you receive great honor and an everlasting name. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? And Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt. Phinehas, our father, in being zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Jesus, Yahushua, for fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Israel. Joshua.
That's another one. Joshua,
Caleb, for bearing witness before the congregation received the heritage of the land. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. Elias, for being zealous and fervent for the law, was taken up into heaven. Ananias, Azarias, and Misael, by believing, were saved out of the flame. And Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of lions.
Man, how many more do you want? That wasn't all right, but that was plenty.
There's a roll call right there.
That was a roll call, a quick one. In Psalms 105, I think it is, it's another roll call. And there's so many other ones. Sirach 44. Man, it's like so many. But we out here in a little turmoil, and we out here already ready to throw in the towel, right? Be ready to give up. Like, man, nah. He's like, listen, remember, because imagine what the Maccabees were facing. So he had to give them that. And remember, Judas, I believe it was, he did the same thing. He talked about the sword that he got in the days of Jeremiah and this and that. The brothers were already like lacking that faith. That encouraged them to be like, you know what? It is what it is. If we got to die today, we're going to die. But we're going to die fighting for our laws, for the Most High, and for our people. That's what should push you every morning. You know what, Abba? Regardless, whatever I go through, please protect me. Look out for me. Surround me with your Elohim. Send your angels to encompass and be around me, right? Not only me, but my people, right? Not only the people here locally, but all throughout the four corners. Those that are to come, those that are seeking you, help us all, Abba, because I know that there's nothing that could go against you. You start really developing that way of thinking and living according to what you're, saying to the Most High. Man, you see it in brothers like, are we going to be able to do that? Yeah, this brother be like, I'll be like, Most High willing. Most High is willing. Just that alone makes you think like, man, yeah, you know what he is. I just got to do my part now. Simple things like that. Even things that you start saying, the way you greet people. You start greeting them according to this and something that's positive. That does a lot for the body. You're already out there helping brothers out, helping sisters out. Because everything starts up here, right? You could have the worst day, it started up here. You could have the best day, it's up here. It's the way you think of things. The scriptures tell you that. As he thinketh, so is he, right? So is she. And we're like, you know what, Abba? I know you got us. I know that all I got to do is do my part, and you're going to bless me in everything. Joshua 1:8. You're going to be successful in everything. All you need to do is meditate day and night in these laws, right? And the Most High is not going to fail you. That's what we read about right now. And there's other, there's even in the book of Maccabees, there's other layouts where he goes deeper into it. But now let's get that Luke. We're about to be done. This was the sister, right, with the issue. Luke 8:48.
Luke 8:43. And a woman having an issue of blood 12 years, which had spent all her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any, came behind him and touched the border of his garment.
Okay, so we just read it like that, right? It's a quick summary. But imagine, how many years?
12 years.
A whole decade and 2 years, right? She spent all her money, her whole life, seeking physicians to fix the issue. Imagine all the medicine she took, all the doctors that she went to. You hear like, you know what, I got to go to Cedar Sinai. Oh, then I got to go to the specialist. Oh, he couldn't cover that, so I got to go down this way. I got to go. You're traveling. You're spending a lot of money, a lot of time. It's stressful, right? If anybody been in that type of situation, you know how stressful it could get. Even just getting something, picking up a prescription from a pharmacy that, the local one doesn't have it. Now imagine 12 years of that, right? This is what she went through. This is what she had gone through, right? Go ahead. Read it from the top again.
And a woman having an issue of blood 12 years, which had spent all her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any, came behind him and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her issue of blood stanched.
Why do you think she did that, though? Exactly. Because of her faith. You see it in some of these programs. It'd be good for you guys to go check out some of these programs. Don't focus on the Edomites playing the characters and the embellishment. Focus on what you actually read about, and now they display it, and you look at it like, oh, wow, okay. That makes me understand a little better. Like in The Chosen. There's a scene where Yahweh Shai is talking amongst the people, and the sister comes through, and they throw the dude through the roof that has been, I think he was handicapped. He couldn't walk. They're like, man, he's here. They're like, I don't care what we got to go through. The Pharisees is outside. The Romans is outside. They're about to get caught up. The sister's like, listen, he's here. They didn't care about anything. They're like, look, the Most High Son's going to heal him right now. And it happened. That's how this sister was like, what? Yahweh Shai is right here? He's down the street? Oh, man. She didn't say anything. She rushed, touched his fringe, and was healed immediately. Go ahead, read that.
Came behind him and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her issue of blood was stanched. And Yahushua said, who touched me? When all denied, Peter and they that were with him said, Master, the multitude throng thee and press thee, and sayest
Imagine,
thou,
right?
who touched me?
But meditate on that. Who's that, Peter? He's like, bro, you're like in the middle of all these people. Like, everybody's touching you. What are you talking about? Nah, Yahweh Shai was like, nah, who touched me? Why? Go ahead.
And Yahushua said, somebody have touched me, for I perceive that virtue is gone out of me.
Imagine that. He said, I lost some of my power. Virtue went out of me. Something heavy just happened. Just to have you locked in like that. Imagine you're that locked in. Oh, man, I felt something. What was that? What's going on? And you start feeling it. You start noticing, man, there's something going on out here. Most High reveals it to you. Because we read about it. Oh, that was Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai told who? These brothers, listen, you're going to be doing greater works than these. And he told us, you guys, both male and female, are going to be doing greater works than them back in the day. But we don't think about that like that. It's already happening. It's been happening. And it's only going to get better, right? So Yahweh Shai's like, nah. Somebody, I perceive something, like somebody touched me. Because this happened to me, right? My virtue has gone out of me. Go ahead.
And when the woman saw that she was not hid, she came trembling.
Imagine that too, though. She's healed, now she's trembling. Like, man, what happened now? Man, is he going to take it back from me? Imagine, 12 years. You really got to put yourself and really understand what's going on, right? She out here in fear and trembling, right? Working out her own salvation. Go ahead, read that.
Trembling and falling down before him, she declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately.
So she broke it down to him. Look, look, Yahweh Shai, this will happen. And as soon as I touched you, man, I immediately healed, right? Go ahead.
And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace.
He broke it down to her. Now, I was only concerned because, man, something happened. And this would not happen if you didn't have faith. It's that deep. Only through that faith, her faith, was that even a possibility. That's why he was like, hold up, what just happened right now? Who just touched me? That means a lot of people were touching them that didn't have faith because they were all seeking to be cured, right? To be made whole. But that doubt was with the people. This sister was like, I know he got me. All I got to do, just imagine how difficult it was for her to even get to him. You got to really look at that, right? So it's like, nah, as soon as I'm good. I know that you were going to heal me. I knew it. I knew it in advance because I was convicted. I knew I had that conviction that you're the Son of the Most High, that you are Yahweh Shai, the Savior of Israel. That's why he responded with that. Read that last verse, Hawk. 48.
And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace.
Now, That's it right there. Now look at this right here. Because time is almost up. Let me see, which one do I want? Let's go to Matthew. And you guys know that there's many situations where he would say, your faith has healed you. In every instance, it was that. It was nothing but that. That's why, again, if we don't have faith, we won't be healed. We're going to be on the side. We're going to be like all the other, the other people that were around him that didn't get nothing from Yahweh Shai. Because that's where we at right now. We're in the midst, right? When this book is open, you're in the midst of Yahweh Shai, in the midst of Yahweh. But again, we will not be blessed if we lack that faith. Look, this is how he breaks it down in his own city. What happened? Again, Matthew 13. Start at 54.
54. Come. And when he was come into his own country.
Into his what?
His own country. He taught them in their synagogue, insomuch that they were astonished and said, whence hath this man this wisdom and these mighty works?
So they knew him, right? He was in his hometown. Like, man, this is Jesus right here, Jesus. What's going on with him? How is he so gifted? Go ahead.
Is not this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary?
So they knew his parents. Go ahead.
And his brethren, James and Joseph, and Simon and Judas.
And his brethren, right? His kinfolk, right? Go ahead.
And his sisters. Are they not all with us?
So imagine, again, this is what you got to meditate on. Now, that's just that, Jake. That's just that, sister. That's just that. But you're looking at the works. You're looking at the pattern of good works. You're looking at how he's able to, deal with the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the lawyers, right? He's able to maneuver and expound so great. So they recognize that. And then they're like, isn't this the Jake from down the block? We know all his brothers. We know his sisters, pops, moms. Okay, yeah, that's just that. All right, whatever. So you already discredit because you know him. That's just this brother. That's Rakab, really. That's just whatever name you want to, but you don't focus like, yeah, that's him, but that's not the one that you knew back in the day. And that, we can't say that about Yahweh Shai, obviously, but that happens in our case, right? So then what happened? Go ahead.
Verse 57. And they were offended in him.
Imagine that.
But Yahweh Shai said unto them, a prophet is not without honor, save in his own country and in his own house.
So what happened? 58.
And he did not many mighty works there because of their unbelief.
Imagine that. He from South Central. He's your boy. But since you lacked faith, he's like, you know what? I'm not even going to bother with y'all. I'm good. You're offended by me? He's like, all right, cool. Bet. I'm good. That's what we got to dwell on. Yahweh Shai is great. Most High is great. Right? His saints, his prophets. But how much faith do we have? Again, read that 58 again.
And he did not many mighty works there because of their unbelief.
So that's what we got to really look at. If the Most High is really not helping us, if Yahweh Shai is not helping us, because of us and our sin, which is the unbelief, the lack of faith, So again, family, Most High willing, it was edifying. Most High willing, we really meditate and I mean, really demand. Let's start demanding of the Most High, doing our part to be able to demand of the Most High, because he's never failed any of our forefathers that were righteous, right? So with that, we say shalom, and please tune in. The brother got the next lesson coming in, and tomorrow at 4:30. Shalom.
If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson with another.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yeah, how it's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world.